Hello, and welcome to Martlet Games. My name is Sarah, and I'm the storyteller for this historical Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition chronicle, London's Bleeding. This is the premiere episode of the second and final season. You can see the previous season in its entirety on the Martlet Games YouTube channel. But don't worry, in a few moments, I'll give you a short recap of our first season and ease everyone back into my world of darkness. As with the previous season, a mature content warning applies. There will be themes and descriptions of violence, loss of character agency, gaslighting, coarse language, and more. The table has discussed their lines and veils, their hard limits, and makes use of the yellow and red card safety system during play. Take care of yourself above all. If you become uncomfortable or triggered, don't hesitate to step away. We'll be waiting for you with open arms should you decide to return. With that, let's reintroduce our vampires, starting with Ben as Walter.
Hi, my name is Ben. I'll be playing Walter Price, the Gangrel.
Hello, I'm Patrick. I will be playing Rafe Williams, the Toreador.
Hello everyone, I'm Samantha McLarty and I will be playing Lillian Crawford, the Ventrue Extraordinaire.
Hello everybody, and I am Stephen Rieger, and I'll be playing Tommy, the Malkavian.
Great. Thank you so much to my players for coming back to this table. I'm really excited to get started with this. And with that, let's hear a little bit about what happened in season 1 to this coterie of happenstance. The 4 kindred you see before you met at Wetterman Hospital in East London just after Armistice Day, where they witnessed an unfamiliar creature invade a doctor's office and threaten his life. The creature was later identified as a gargoyle, a fearsome and tragic creation of Clan Tremere vampires. However, there is supposedly no known Tremere in ancient Ventrue Prince Mithras' domain, as he has spent centuries driving them out. The commanding Ventrue, Lillian Crawford, wiped the good Dr. Harvey Williamson's mind after his encounter with the gargoyle and offered options on how to deal with the additional witness, the haughty head of hospital, Dr. Aloysius Gray. Tommy, the Malkavian ancilla prone to dissociation and acts of brutal violence, lured Gray away from the hospital and easily killed him. This marked the beginning of a dark and quiet alliance between Tommy and Lillian. Rafe, the fledgling Toreador journalist with an estranged wife suffering from the Spanish flu, deftly maintained the masquerade through a convincing newspaper article after the incidents at the hospital. He blamed the escalating gang violence on the Bloody Fists, a vicious group targeting the weakest among the impoverished population. Walter, the gangrel cobbling together his own chosen family after witnessing firsthand the horrors of World War I, was quicker to compassion than some, protecting Dr. Williamson within his means and gathering intel on the death of other medical professionals in the area. From there, the mystery unfolded, with drained bodies in the Thames, multiple gargoyles identified darting through the night sky, and tension and trust fostered in the Coterie of Happenstance. Walter became disappointed with his touchstone, Clarence, witnessing him growing weaker by the day, unworthy to return to his mortal family. Tommy struggled to maintain his relationship with his ghoul, Nathaniel, his last remaining thread connecting him to humanity. Lillian expertly maintained her future plans for her family legacy, continuously crushing Rafe in the process as she attempted to steel him for the hard nights ahead as a predator driven by a hungry beast. The Coterie of Happenstance allied and received prestation from the Broken Mouth Gang, a mixed group of disenfranchised mortals, ghouls, and Nosferatu, and rivals to the Bloody Fists. The Nosferatu under Prince Brimmer, his Lieutenant Bullocks, and his ghoul Myron Bond kept the Coterie satisfied with information and eventually offered them the chance to strike back against the Bloody Fists. Of course, they could not escape the unblinking eye of the Ivory Tower as Walter, Lillian, Rafe, and Tommy met with the cryptic Sheriff Juliet Parr of North London, who as yet has concealed the presence of gargoyles and messy mortal deaths from Prince Mithras. As the Coterie launched their final salvo on Christmas night against the Bloody Fists, Lillian's sire and Justicar Baylor joined them in obliterating the unhinged kindred leader of the Bloody Fists, Frederick Downes. And Lillian, her hands ostensibly clean during the complete destruction of Downes, manipulated Rafe's touchstone Margaret away from her home where she still recovered, promising better accommodations. And so the Coterie of Happenstance, briefly content in their victory, parted ways for several weeks into the new year of 1919, with many questions still hanging in the cold night air. Now, let's slide back into the comfortable darkness of our vampire story. It's the first week of March, 1919, and London nurses its wounds after the First World War. Armistice Day and its celebrations seem distant as time barrels on. The military continues to demobilize and the railway stations begin to open again. All must contend with the heavy toll of the Spanish flu's first winter. In East London, the poorest of the city grapple with the pandemic, though the gang violence has abated. The survivors of war return home. Families are reunited and also destroyed. The true cost of the war remains obscured. In the kindred world, rumors circulate that Prince Mithras will appear in London proper soon, emerging from a mad hibernation to view his city at war's end. With gargoyles flying around the city, their true masters and motivations still unknown, it's only a matter of time before his ancient eye turns to the Coterie of Happenstance. So let's check in with them, shall we? And we're going to start with Rafe. The sun has just set, and Rafe is waking from the sleep of the dead, flat, smooth, dreamless. Please give me your rouse check.
I succeeded.
Very good. So you're there in your apartment, another night. What are you doing when you get up this night?
So, after Rafe comes to, he surveys his apartment and realizes that he's been maybe a little too careless in the housekeeping end of things. There's piles of half-finished articles and stories strewn about his writing desk. Several candles have burnt down and have caked the dining room table with wax. Rafe does have an appointment that he would like to try to keep this evening. He would have made an arrangement to speak to some of the veterans returning from the front. The work with the paper, since he had to burn his previous pen name, has kind of dried up. And so instead of writing for the newspaper, he's going to write a book recounting the stories from the front. Whether or not he's going to be able to keep that meeting remains to be seen, of course. But he's not feeling particularly peckish, at least right now, so that's not a concern. He will, of course, get dressed. His personal abode has maybe fallen behind standard a little bit, but he's still keeping a decent working wardrobe. It's nothing fancy, of course. It's just something that will keep him clothed and doesn't necessarily stand out per se. In this case, he's more of a function over form, which is alien to a toreador, but it works for him.
Okay, great. So among the clutter of your apartment, about 2 to 3 days ago, you would have received a letter from Myron Bond. And he basically would have said, he would like to meet you tonight at about 10 to 11 p.m. You're still waking up pretty decently early because of your humanity. So, I mean, you have several hours before this would occur. So are you creating a new pen name is something that I wanted to know. Is there a new pen name for Rafe?
He's still kind of weighing his options on that. For now, he's operating under the pen name of, we'll say it is William Maxwell. Something nice and generic sounding that will help keep him somewhat anonymous.
That's great. Okay, so you started to cook up that pen name. That's good. So a little bit of time passes as we're getting dressed and thinking and sort of sorting through your kind of messy apartment. You do get a knock on the door.
Wasn't expecting anybody, at least right now, but Rafe's going to go to the door. He usually keeps that trench knife that he brought back from the front. He usually keeps it by the front door in cases like this. But he's not actively wielding it, but he does call back through the door. Yes, hello. Who is it?
Hey, sorry, mate. It's Hubert Franklin. With the info you wanted. I know I didn't say I was showing up or anything, but I know I'm a little late, so I wanted to get to you as soon as possible. I was just in the area, so. All right.
Hold on. And Rafe will unlock the door, and he's going to crack it just a little bit to make sure that it is who they say they are, and he'll let them in if that's the case.
Yeah, it is Hubert Franklin. You do know him. You recognize him right away. He's a man in his 40s, a bit haggard looking, kind of dressed very plainly in like a brown sweater and slacks. And then it's still, the cold is still hanging on. So he's still got a jacket on and kind of a scruffy beard and sort of this like shock of sort of salt and pepper hair on his head. And he kind of like looks in at it and he's like, thanks, mate. Sorry again for dropping by unannounced, but I just wanted to get this to you before I forgot. You know, Christmas time came and the kids and, you know.
Yes, everyone got busy after the holidays. Yes, it's usually how it goes. So what do you have for me?
So he like pulls this crumpled piece of paper out of his pocket with some notes scrawled on it. And he's like, all right, well, I went over to the Bollingsworth Fine Glass facility here in East London, kind of hanging around day and night. Daytime, nothing going on, like not open, not doing nothing, no sounds, no vehicles. Bit odd, really. I thought they were in operation, but I guess it's more for frivolous stuff, so maybe not. But then it's at night, and you have to excuse me. I think it was cold. I had maybe a nip or too much of the brown, you know.
Right.
But there was these strange sounds coming in, like animals or something. But like, no, I mean, I grew up in the country, you know, in the moors, and I never heard an animal like that. Like, I don't know what in the bloody hell that was. So it's at Cable and Ensign Street, Whitechapel, northeast of the city.
Right.
But in terms of what else was in there, was just a bunch of dusty wine bottles and like half-made stuff. I couldn't get in, all very like locked down, everything locked, and yeah, just the weird animal sounds. And then I think I maybe heard a voice like talking English, but I couldn't understand what they were saying. But they met up, whatever was going on there. It seemed like they met up a couple different times. at night over the course of a couple of weeks.
So, man, woman, both? What'd you hear? Or couldn't you tell that either?
It was a man, I'd say, at least one.
All right. So he was speaking English, but did he have an accent of any kind? Not sure.
No, I think he sounded like East London Cockney, like me.
All right. Now, did you actually try forcing your way into the building during the day, or like how close did you get at night?
During the day, I didn't want to go in because I saw like bobbies walking around the street.
Like an unusual amount of bobbies, something.
Yeah, I'd say more than I've seen in quite a while, actually.
Right. Tell you what. Do you mind if I keep your notes?
Oh, no, go ahead. And he hands you this crumpled piece of paper. And it has the address. It has like bullet points of like animal sounds and like man's voice speaking English and things like that. And he probably sketched like the outside of the building. It's very crude, but he probably like marked the entrances that he saw when he had kind of like walked around a couple of times.
Uh-huh. All right. Well, tell you what. You can go ahead and stay away from there for now. There's some things that I'm working on a story that I needed the information for. You've done a pretty damn good job here, and just stay handy in case I need you.
Yeah, I mean, happy to have any job really. So, all right. Well, yeah, just let me know if you need me again, and I'm happy to do it.
I'll give him a couple of pounds for his trouble. I think
thank you, mate.
Can't remember if I paid him previously or not. If I didn't, yeah, he's gonna be getting the full measure. Otherwise, it's a tip. So.
I think it would be just a small tip. I do think you paid him in advance. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
All right. Now, thank you. I've got some stuff to do with this now. My night's gotten a lot busier than what I was anticipating, but thank you very much.
You're welcome, mate. Stay safe, okay?
Yeah, you too. Family's doing okay? No one's sick?
No, not as of yet. Pretty lucky, really.
Thank God for small favors. Right then, I'll see you later.
Indeed. And he turns on his heel and he lights up a cigarette and leaves. So you wanted to go to speak to some veterans. Mm-hmm. I would say unless you had a specific like person or group in mind, you probably would have gotten this through the Broken Mouths, as a lot of veterans have joined up in their ranks recently. So one of your contacts there would probably point you to a couple of people or however many you wanted to talk to.
Mm-hmm. If there's actually any in the Broken Mouths that would be willing to talk, as long as Rafe is still welcome, he would actually stop by their domain just for convenience sake. If that would
yeah, you're welcome there, especially as somebody who knows like Tommy and Walter. Mm-hmm. They are okay with you coming by, so we can sort of say you go over to the Rotherith tunnel. It's really not that far. So you arrive there, you go down the stairs underneath into the tunnel like you had the previous times, and you're kind of standing there outside of the metal door that goes into this cavern that they've created.
Rafe will knock on the door. Hello? Is anyone around?
And you hear like a really gravelly, like scratchy, like, who is it?
Yeah, it's Rafe. I had some arrangements to talk to some of the boys coming back from the war, wanting to tell their stories.
Oh yeah, the writer,
Right.
the writer Rose. Yeah.
Right.
So he unlocks the door and he lets you in, and he'll lead you back through the tunnel. You know where the traps are now. I'm not gonna make you like redo all of that. You've been there. You get it.
Yeah.
And he's leading the way. So you'll go back into this cavernous hall, gambling going on as usual. It's a little less populated than the other time that you were here. It's definitely feels like less people. But the guy that opened the door for you, he just looks at you and he's kind of like this hunched over like Nosferatu. He's got these rat teeth and he's got like hair growing in weird places. And he's like, you can just head over there by the table. They're rolling dice.
Right.
A couple boys will talk to you.
All right, sounds good. If you actually could do me a favor, do you think you could spare a body to run over to the Randy Dandy for me and leave a message?
And he kind of, in his like short stature, he tries to like look around and see who looks like they're not doing anything. And he sees like a very tall man with dark hair sitting alone and at one of the tables, and he's like, oi, you, T, come over here, T, come here. And this guy T comes over, and the guy, he's like, okay, my friend here, he needs someone to go over to the Randy Dandy and deliver a message. Easy enough, innit? So you're doing fuck all. I know nobody got you on assignment, so you can go and do this. And T actually doesn't say anything, and he just nods very slowly. And so what's the message?
Right. I need a message delivered to the proprietor of the Randy Dandy that Rafe has finally gotten some information about the Bollingsworths and should probably figure out a time and a place to meet.
Okay. So T nods very slowly again, and the rat-faced man is like, all right, easy enough. So T, you know where it is, ain't far from here, so get a move on, and he deliver the message. All right? And T looks, kind of stares at you, Rafe, like a little too long. And then he is starting to make his way back through the entrance and out of the tunnel area. So T is on his way there. And the man that brought you in, there's like these circular tables set up kind of in the back left corner of this cavern, and you see several men rolling dice there.
All right. I'm going to take out my notepad and my pencil. I'm going to sit down and just start shooting the breeze with the gents that trying to figure out, or try to, if they're willing to share their names, if they want their names left out, getting, their unit assignments, where they were at, just talking about, we'll say Rafe was taking a very hard anti-war stance back when he was alive, when he was writing from the front, and that's still the angle that he intends on working. He's wanting to focus on just how bad the front was, and he's actually taken an interest in studying and reporting on shell shock, and making that a big focus of his writing, and just how the fact that a lot of these boys are not coming back, even though their bodies are here, their minds are not.
Okay, yeah, that all makes sense. So in terms of, we'll say that like you're kind of just having a conversation,
Right.
and they're for the most part willing to open up because you've been vetted by their brothers essentially, so that tells them that they can trust you for the most part. But why don't you give me I want you to give me a roll here. Why don't you roll I would say charisma and persuasion,
Okay.
just to see exactly how deep they'll go with the information about, especially the more intense and violent parts of the war.
Right. 1, 2, 3, 4 successes.
Okay, so they almost like they seem to maybe even be a little more at ease than they were when you approached them. One of them is very talkative. He seems kind of, in the beginning, he's sort of going over the positive aspects. He's telling his victory stories and kind of his grandeur in battle and all this stuff. And the other guy is sort of chiming in, and then there's a third man, and he has clearly been disfigured by chemical warfare. It's his eyes, like there are no lids there, like the skin, especially like from the nose and above, is just like red, raw, blotchy. He has no hair, and he's wearing this kind of long dark trench coat, and he's been silent up until now. And yeah, but he starts to open up to you, and the gist of what he tells you is that the way that the gas was employed here was something evil and unholy, that it was beyond what would be considered an honorable battle. And he goes into some of the more gory details about the gas attacks, and also his own personal experience with things like sickness in the trenches, and problems with like legs and feet and finding dry socks, and kind of this excruciating minutia and boredom of waiting in the trenches, and the smell, and the like just being surrounded and encased in like dirt and rubble and shrapnel, and how young everyone was that he had served with. And it's kind of impossible to tell his age on the condition of his face, so you're not really sure if he's like a young man or older. But he does actually, he gives you some pretty, like, I would say, good details for a newspaper article. So did you want to ask them any specific questions?
No, right now Rafe's trying to, he's working on the skeleton of his book, and a lot of this information is stuff that is, every soldier would be able to tell him almost the exact same story, as far as the tradition or the conditions in the trenches. The ones like the man with the chemical burns, though, Rafe is making sure to put special notation there. He's not intending to play up the gruesome details strictly for shock value. This is something that he actually honestly cares about, and he's wanting to make sure that those we'll say, more standout examples are what he's really going to be focusing on. So he's just he's not actively prying for too much information, at least for now, but he's making a note that if this man is willing to talk further, Rafe will return later on for a more intimate interview.
Sure. And the man that kind of spoke up at the end that was quiet, his name is Tate.
Tate. All right, I'll get that noted here. All right, Tate.
And after he finishes, it almost like he was not saying anything, and then it just like emerged out of him in kind of whispered tones. And as soon as he is done talking, that's it. And he kind of has a bit of a 1,000-yard stare. He's kind of just like, he's moving the dice around in his hand, but never rolling them. Like he's clearly distracted, dissociating, possibly. So he kind of stops, and the other guys are getting kind of restless. Let's say you talk to them for about like an hour, 90 minutes. You sit with them, and you get some definitely good bones for the book that Rafe is trying to write.
Excellent.
So with that, so you after that conversation, you'll have about an hour to get to the Drunken Dancer to see Myron. So with that, we are going to pivot to Lillian. So same night.
All right.
Possibly a deeper sleep. So give me your rouse check before we start, please.
I failed. I get hungrier.
You fail. And you can't really decide if the prickle of hunger you feel is something motivating or irritating. It's just, it gives you this zap of energy, but you're not sure if it's good or not. And we can possibly deal with that in a little while. So you're at your, glorious family home, I presume. And so what are you getting up to?
I probably making sure that any news that I would have requested was updated, which I got that. But checking on the girls to make sure that they are doing the chores that I've asked them to do, or whatever that they are supposed to be doing for the night. I would probably at this point be keeping up with family finances as well, because I still have an empire to run in the mortal world. And
yes. So let's talk a little bit about that. So you, when you're looking for the girls to see what they're doing and if they're doing the things that you delegated to them, you kind of look for Bess, and you're going through the rooms, and she's not where she's supposed to be doing the chores she's supposed to be. You do eventually find her. She's just in her quarters, and she's like brushing her hair, and she's like putting on lipstick and sorting through her jewelry, and she kind of like snaps her head back when she notices that you're there, and she's like, I know I have things to do tonight. I know I do. But can I ask you about something first?
of course you can, dear. Whatever is it?
So, when I went to the Christmas party, I met a boy. and he just come back a little earlier, actually, and he's handsome and tall and strong, but he seems so far away. Like, how do I get him to pay attention to me and to notice me? I mean, I was dressed in all my most beautiful things. My hair was impeccable. My shoes were shined. I don't know what else I could have presented to him to make him notice me, but so I'm going to see him again later, so I wanted to ask you before I saw him again. I'm just not really sure what to do.
What is this boy's name?
His name is Nicholas.
Last name, dear. That's what matters.
I believe it was Nicholas Dale.
Dale. Does that sound familiar to me at all? Is it anything socialite at all? Anything within our bracket?
You would probably recognize the name as like the D-list royalty of Britain, like truly like so far removed from anything substantial in terms of royal standing, but they're, they've got like a little bit of land, definitely not nowhere near the level of the Crawfords, but also not like what other royals might refer to as like a commoner. So kind of somewhere in the middle a bit between commoner and like the super wealthy elite that you usually roll with.
Gotcha. And you say he is just returning from the military, correct?
Yes, he was in the war.
I imagine he has seen many unsettling sights during his time at the on the lines, so it might take a bit. Perhaps just give it a bit of time and talk to him. Have you tried to talk to him yet?
Yes, I was trying to see where he likes to go, what types of food he likes to eat, his taste in music, and he would answer, but I don't know, he just didn't seem engaged or attracted, and I don't understand that.
I don't know, dear. I would say that perhaps he's not really attracted to you, but you are a Crawford. There's no reason for him not to be, honestly. You said you're seeing him tonight?
Yes, when my work is done here,
right.
I'm going to go see him, yes.
I'm so going glad to you remember that.
Yes.
What time?
I believe I'm meeting him and some of his family for dinner around 9:30.
Did he invite you to this, or did you invite yourself?
He did invite me.
Well, then clearly he has taken notice.
What of
Otherwise,
what?
why would he have invited you to meet his family?
Yes, I did meet some of them too at the Christmas party. They were there also, but didn't speak to them a lot. They stared at me for quite a long time, I will say.
Interesting. Dear girl, I think that you're just all in your head about this. I think that it is going to be quite all right. And are you going to dinner somewhere, or is it another party, or is it a private gathering?
It's a private gathering at their family home.
Right. All right. Not a problem. I'm sure you'll be fine. But you must do your chores first. Otherwise, I don't think you'll be making this private family gathering.
And Bess definitely looks guilty at that point, and she seems eager to to please you in this moment. So she stands up right away from this vanity and kind of curtsies to you and is kind of off on her way
and
to
remember, dear,
yeah.
less is more. You're not trying to attract any random person from the streets, so don't dress like you are trying to attract any random person off the streets, dear. You are a Crawford. Present yourself as one.
Yes, of course, Mom.
And I'm going to take my thumb and wipe the shade of lipstick that she has on off of her mouth. And then I'm going to look over and pick a more suitable color. This one.
Yes, this is much better. And she just kind of quickly applies it standing up at the mirror really fast. And she starts to scurry away and she turns her head back to anything else, Mum?
Just, a little boasting always helps here and there, but not too much. You don't want to throw the fact that you are a Crawford in their faces. They don't like that so much, but enough to let on that, you have substantial means.
Understood. And she smiles a little bit at that and then is off to do the chores.
She is off. I'm going to call for oh my God, I think we named her before, but it's the maid, essentially the servant. And I cannot remember what the name is now.
I was thinking about this too, and I also could not figure out the answer. I truly thought about it for so long. So we're going to say that her name is Sharon.
Okay, Sharon it is, because I cannot remember
Sharon
at all.
now.
I wanted to say it was Alice, but that's the other
That's Mary Alice.
Yeah, that's Mary Alice. So it's like I have no idea what my own people's name is. But yes, I'm going to call for Sharon.
Okay. So Sharon very quickly is in presence. She's in her uniform, very clean and nicely pressed, and has just been fluttering about the house all day, doing various things. And she says, yes, Miss Crawford.
I need you to ring a Mr. Marlin for me and tell him I must speak with him at once. I have something that he needs to do for me.
And just as she is about to answer you, as a knock at the front door, and Sharon kind of like lights up and she runs to the door to go and open it. So she moves through that foyer with the table and the mirrors and the flowers, and goes to the front door. She opens it a little bit, and you hear like a short conversation, and she leads the people back to you, and it is Marlin and Edith, both.
Wonderful. I was actually just going to summon you. Good of you to show up.
And Marlin is a sort of just above average height man. He's got a very dark beard and dark hair. He does have quite nice, clean clothes, a blue wool jacket, dark slacks, and shoes, a lot of pockets. And Edith is somewhat petite, very fair-skinned, minimal makeup, kind of ash blonde, short hair. Not much in the way of jewelry or accessories, but you probably might see like a little silver chain bracelet or something like that. And Marlin, he's got your typical like newsboy hat on. He tips his hat and he says, "Mum," and Edith says, "Hello, Mrs. Crawford. I'm glad that we could arrive at such a fortuitous time."
Yes, indeed. As I was saying, Bess, apparently has an invitation to a private dinner with a Mr. Dale's family tonight. She says he's a bit off. The boy is a bit off from his return from the war. I need you to find out what you can about him, please. And while you're doing that, I would like you to drive her to the estate and stay. Keep an eye on things.
And Marlon looks at Edith for a second, and he kind of raises his eyebrow, and he looks back at you and he says, sure, if I expect we'll see another installment of payment before we go.
Of course.
Oh, and speaking of payment, we saw, excuse me, Mum, for my language, but we saw some truly rancid shit out in the streets of East London doing what you asked us to do. Like, I mean, I've lived in these streets since I was a boy, all on my own, but this is some stuff I thought I'd never see. And Edith, as Marlon is saying this, she looks just like she's recalling some of these disturbing things and kind of gets like a wide-eyed sort of pale look and
Spit it out already. Quit beating around the bush about it and tell me what it is you saw.
I mean, all of the blood and the man just walking into the Thames.
All right, so what I'm going to need you to do is forget you saw that part, please. And I'm going to,
Sure.
Yeah.
I figured as much, but...
Gonna do the thing.
Do the thing. So...
I think I'm gonna use, actually, I believe it's Forgetful Mind, which allows me to rewrite memories. If I'm not mistaken.
Yes. So you can add and remove memories based on the margin of your successes. That is going to be a rouse check for you.
Mm-hmm. Yay. Oh, crap. All right, I am good. I did not fail that one.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So... I'm going
now you're going to roll manipulation and dominate, and I'm going to make a roll here.
All right, gotcha. And that one is... That's a good roll for me. All right. 6 crit.
Why did I expect anything different? So what you can do now is you can add or remove up to 6 different memories, or 5. I'm sorry, 5 memories from. Is this just on Edith?
I'm probably gonna have to do it on both of them because I don't need either one of them cracking under pressure. So just gonna...
Okay, so we'll start. We did start with Edith. So
Okay.
yeah, you 5 adding remove of memories, and when you do this, it's a as the core book says, a flawless imprint as true as any memory.
So I'm going to rearrange and rewrite those memories. They didn't see blood, and they didn't see anybody walking into the Thames, just all crazy like that. They saw a drunkard fall and injure himself.
Mm-hmm.
And then as he was stumbling about like an idiot, he fell into the Thames.
Okay, got it.
Nobody else was there, just the drunkard.
Okay. So her
And I
face
will do the same for him once it gets to that as well.
Sure. We'll take care of that in just a second. So, her face just loses all expression, and she like actually goes slack-jawed for a second. And as you sort of do this using the powers of your blood, and she then kind of like snaps back in, and she's like, so we'll drive best to the Dales estate, and we'll keep an eye on things there for you. No problem.
Wonderful. So
And
glad.
Marlene kind of looks at Edith and is like,
Oh, and you,
we-
Marlon, also, I'm going to need you to forget all about that as well. And instead, this is what you saw. And I'm going to do it to him too.
okay, so same.
Yep.
I am going to require an additional rouse check because this is two separate instances of doing this. You have to call on. Okay, great, good.
I have passed. All right. Ooh. That's 7 on him.
I wish I had your dice rolling
And a
ability. I
crit
really,
as well
I
as
really
that.
do.
So
Okay, so
that's my best roll. Are you kidding me?
yeah, I know. So for him, you can modify, like add or remove 4 memories, but I mean that's enough to basically
He's getting the same story.
remove all the stuff that you decide about anything about blood or anything like unsavory or weird. That's enough successes on the margin, plus it's a crit. So all of that goes poof. Same thing happens to him. His face just goes like static white noise nothingness. And then his eyes kind of like, he kind of goes like, so the estate,
Right, the estate.
and you already paid us, so we should be fine with
Fantastic.
that.
So glad to hear it. I'm sure if you do a really good job with this one and make sure nothing happens to sweet little Bess, I'll include a bit of a bonus for you. Sounds good.
Yes, very good, Mom. Thank you
Wonderful.
kindly. Yes.
Mhm.
And both Edith and Marlon, they exchange just like this very blank glance. It's just like blank.
Is there a problem?
They just no, just better get going.
Right. Good.
And he tips his hat again. She does like a small curtsy and he kind of bows, and then Sharon will lead them back out the door.
Splendid.
So they will do as you say. So they're probably just gonna wait a little bit, like in whatever vehicle they came. And I imagine you probably give.
Yeah.
Do you?
I will
Sharon,
let them take. I will let Marlon and Edith take the typical car that is used for us, so that it at least looks the part, and our driver can just take a break for a little while. That's fine.
Not bad. Even more people to do what you want.
Mhm.
So, after they leave and Sharon kind of gets herself back together, she does come back up to you and she sort of like digs in this very deep like apron pocket, and she's like, actually 2 letters for you from the day. 2 letters. Very good, Mom. And she hands you 2 separate envelopes.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to take them from her.
Okay. So, and you also would have received a third letter a couple days ago with Myron Bond requesting your presence at the Drunken Dancer tonight at 10 p.m.
Dear.
So, yeah, I know you. Yeah, William probably isn't psyched, but He's a good source of info. So if you open up the first letter that Sharon gave you, that is actually a letter of thanks from Dr. Worthington, who is the head of hospital that you installed at Wetterman Hospital, who's now like in his full position. So in a very like nice script, it says, Mrs. Crawford, thank you so much for your recommendation. I plan to turn this hospital into something great and worthy of your praise. And then signed Dr. Worthington. So that's all it says. It's just kind of a little thank you note.
And she'll just kind of look at it and, very good, and just set it aside.
Okay. And the second one, it smells like perfume. The paper of the envelope is like very fine, heavier than normal. And you'll open it and it's a very like ornate looking, almost like embossed card with all this like gold filigree and like burgundy accents and finer than regular cursive, like calligraphy. Saying there's calligraphy on the inside of it. Sorry, the front is just like a tableau. It's just kind of like an artistic picture. And then once you open it, inside, it says, "Dearest Lillian, I can't believe that I'm writing this to you. It's been so long, but it's time for another Elysium. The prince is coming back to London, and your presence is required. Underline, underline, underline. All my love, Lady Anne."
Required, huh? That's what it is. Required.
And below her signature, the date is of the second week of March. So it is about a week from now.
Fantastic. I love how they just required. Perhaps I'll be nice enough to actually go this time.
Glad Lady Anne didn't hear you say that. Not in the age of the surveillance state yet, right? So we're good.
Exactly. Who the hell's
the time period is working in your favor. Right. So you know that you kind of have this, you reluctantly are going to go to the Drunken Dancer to see Myron Bond for information. Is there anything else you would like to do before you go see him?
I am going to pen real quick a letter,
Okay.
2 letters, one back to Lady Anne and then one to another person. I will send you the message on who the other person is, to be revealed later. But yeah, I'll tell you about that. But one is to Lady Anne, essentially accepting the invitation and all that lovely niceties and blah blah blahs in that. And that'll go back to Lady Anne. Of course, I'll have my natural Lillian charm in there, the gritted teeth.
Definitely. I mean, you've written plenty of these of these letters, so no role required. So you will pen the letter of acceptance of the invitation to Lady Anne, and then yes, we will talk about the other letter off screen. Cool. So that is all we're going to do with Lillian for now. So we are going to pivot to Walter. So,
Yes.
Walter is at his haven with his crew.
Right. We're trying to whip them into shape.
Indeed. So you are waking up from your day sleep. So please give me your rouse check.
High is good, right?
Yeah, above a 6 is a 6 and above is success.
I failed.
Oh, okay. So you don't so much hear a voice as you just see those yellow eyes burning in your mind's eye. And you hear growls and snarls and other sorts of like vocal undulations, and you feel yourself get hungrier. So, what is Walter doing upon waking up this night?
Well, I guess it's got an idea of like what's been happening recently. Walter will want to feed, but he also wants to make sure that he gives proper instruction to his tribe, make sure that we still keep doing our patrols around the neighborhood, making sure that the riffraff stays out. I mean, for the audience's sake, as much as everybody else's, it's like Walter was shook when he saw just how pervasive kindred in London is. And all of a sudden, he realized how big a pond he's in. So he's really trying to step up his game. So I want to make sure that the hospital's taken care of. I'm still trying to lay that track with the doctor there, try to get him on the good side, you know, of me and my staff, the tribe. But that way it's we're trying to build some sort of like backwards utopia in the little area. But
yeah, absolutely. So actually, Dr. Williamson, throughout the course of these like 6 weeks, he's actually come a couple of times and kind of like chats with the boys, like has maybe gone out on like as almost like a ride along situation. Like he's really starting to become ingratiated into this group, and you're seeing him like every other weekend or so, because he still is like extremely busy at the hospital and is trying.
Of course, he's a doctor,
right? But your place has become like this refuge for him to like decompress and honestly like refill his cup and see the strength of your crew around you to sort of bolster his own so he can weather another week at Wetterman.
And we probably have upgraded the Haven a bit. It's probably less hovel and more clubhouse by this point.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, there's like maybe there's some like a bit nicer furniture. It's just a bit cleaner. In terms of like the composition of your crew, it's kind of waxed and waned like it always does. You've had some people drop off. You've had a couple new people join. The woman that you met in your epilogue, she is still in the mix there. And actually this night, some of your crew are getting ready to go to the Randy Dandy to provide some additional security. So a couple of guys are sort of like checking their clothes and like some boot knives and things like that. And they're getting ready to go. And as that little contingent, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to ask. It's like, I know that the extra security had been requested, but I never asked why the extra security was requested tonight of all nights. Okay.
And you don't get the impression that something is like going down like this night at the Randy Danny. It's just because of things that had gone down in the timeline with Tommy and Rafe and some like indiscretions. So it's just general security. It's
Sure.
not like something is happening tonight. It's just like another round of them going to the Randy Dandy to provide security.
And Tommy's a good boy. We'll help out Tommy.
And when you say Tommy's a good boy, the guys look at each other, just kind of like major side eye to each other and just like, and you hear a couple of mumbles, and Jack Dory is among them, and he's sort of like, he pipes up immediately once he sees them looking askance, and he's like, no, if Walter says he's a good boy, then he's a good boy. Don't make a fuss.
He's a friend of the club. He's a fine man.
And the
I
other
look at
guys
Jack
just
Dory.
shrug.
I look at Jack Dory. It's like, if you found out anything different, you tell me.
Oh, of course, you'd be the first to know.
I'm going to turn my stalker into a stool pigeon.
Hey, however you can flip it.
I mean, I know he's loyal to me, so all right.
He certainly is. So they will finish their preparations, and they will head out, this little group of 3, to the Randy Dandy, which includes Jack Dory. And so you actually receive from, you had established that you wanted like a fuller report on what was going on at the hospital. So
So yeah, the thing specifically I was looking for was to make sure that the bloody fists aren't causing trouble, and I also wanted to see if there was anything related to that. Walter doesn't know, but if there was anything more related to the monster that had to do with the staff or anything there. So, and again, it's not like I have a top-notch supply of spies. I'm just kind of keeping my ear to the ground in case anything strange happens again.
Right. And so you do get in a letter a report, like a very short report, and the what it says is that there's been nothing more suspicious at the hospital. It really, like, no one has seen a bloody fist. Nobody has seen anyone with the red cloths wrapped around their hands coming around the hospital. Like, even like other smaller gangs have been steering clear. Like, it seems like things are calming down over there. There has not been any reports of anything unusual, and so you do get that in a letter in the process.
Sometime soon, I'm going to go take a walk near their neighborhood.
Absolutely, we can definitely do that at some point. So as the 3 men are walking out the door, another man is right there as the door opens, and he smacks his hand on the door, almost like he's steadying themselves, and he's like, Walter, and it's John, who is kind of the young man, Clarence's son.
Clarence's son, yeah. I'm trying to remember where we left off on him. I told him to leave.
He was heartbroken at the end of his engagement, his romantic engagement. He was heartbroken. She had left him entirely. You kind of tried to mitigate this separation between them. You got
I was more interested in her than anything, but yeah.
You got a pretty weird feeling about her, but she left. And
6 weeks ago.
6 weeks ago, she left. And so John, his clothes are disheveled. He's got like a really patchy, sad beard grown in. His hair is a mess, and he reeks of alcohol.
Is this how John has been acting for the last 6 weeks? Or because I've been checking in on him at least weekly.
Yeah. He has been turning to the bottle pretty good these past couple of weeks. Now, it hasn't been so much that like you have felt like you really needed to intervene. You're like, he's a heartbroken dude. He wants to get drunk and forget. You're not going to like, I feel like you probably would have just let him feel his feelings, but he is not usually in the habit of like getting really drunk and then just like walking around randomly.
So let me explain like where my mind is at.
Okay.
Where I kind of knew something was off with his fiance anyway. I couldn't quite put my finger on it.
Nope.
Does it sound like he's self-medicating withdrawal right now?
He's self-medicating.
Like if he was like if she was a vampire and he was drinking her blood, and now that he doesn't have access to it, he's trying to self-medicate with alcohol or anything. Am I reading too deep into it? I'm too far into my own head.
No,
let me roll all that back.
No, you're on the right track, my guy. You're good. You're putting the pieces together. Don't you worry now.
Okay.
I would say it is reasonable.
You don't have to tell me.
Assumption.
It's okay. Yeah, it's a reasonable assumption.
It is
something that I
assumption.
would know and have seen.
Yes.
Considering my lifestyle.
And as soon as he like his hand kind of slides down the door and he like just like stumbles and like sits in a chair and he's just straight up not
like seriously, as soon as he looks like he's in trouble, like I'm hoping some of my guys can get him to a table to sit down. Like I really yeah. If I can't get to him, somebody will.
Yeah, as soon as like any of your guys like peep him coming in and see that he's extremely unsteady on his feet, someone is there hooking him in his arm and getting him to sit down. And one of your guys is actually trying to get the bottle from his hand and John is not letting go. He's like, no, just let me.
John,
just one more swig. Come on.
John, you have to let that one go for right now. It's rotten. We've got something better for you.
Oh, if you got something better, then that's okay. Yeah, just pour it up another one.
Yeah.
And he lets it go.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like, is this the time when like the most sanitary thing would have been apple cider? I don't know. I kind of want to put a glass of water in front of him and be like, drink this, chump. But it's.
I mean, if you want to try to like get one over on him, I mean, you probably will have to like, if it's like very clearly water.
Yeah. No, we'll get, because they've got to have cider, right?
Yeah, there's some men who probably don't drink, so
yeah. I mean,
sure, we'll say it's just regular apple cider. Do you bring that to him, or you have another guy fetch it?
No, I'll bring it to him. I want to appear fatherly.
Okay, so you'll come back with the cider from your kitchen. And he'll kind of look at it and he's like, what is this?
It's cider. You'll be fine with it. You can drink it longer and it won't kill your liver.
This is for children. It's for a little kid. And you notice that John has like slid back from his refined pronunciation, British accent back into East London Cockney. Yeah. He's tried to like kind of overlap that on his accent, but now that he's wasted, like he's back in this really like thick London Cockney accent. He's like, I don't want this. This is for like my little brother. This isn't for me.
Yeah, no.
Right?
Once you sober up a bit, we'll give you your bottle back. Don't worry.
Walter, you don't understand. Jeanette, she was so incredible. She was like no one else. She was so different. And it's like, there's no one that's ever going to be like her, Walter. It's nobody. Nobody. And he starts crying.
You
tears,
live in
big fat tears.
It's all right. Yeah. I sit down, have the heart to heart. You live in the greatest city in the greatest, the biggest, dirtiest. This is a pretty big city with a lot of people in it. You'll find somebody again. I wouldn't worry too much about this one. Now, tell me, what made this one special?
I mean, you saw, didn't you? I mean, I've never seen anyone so beautiful in my life.
Oh, well, yeah, excellent.
I mean,
You, son, have not been to France. Well, she was from France.
She was from France, but he never went there. She came to him. And she didn't care that I didn't go to the fight. She didn't care. She said I was so special and that we were gonna go to France. Go to France and live in the country home and have little girl, a little girl.
Like, I'm trying to make it seem like my heart's breaking, but it's like I really want to get more information out of this dumb kid. Yeah.
Okay, then I need you to roll manipulation and persuasion if you're trying to manipulate him in a certain way.
Okay, persuade. Ooh, that's no good. Okay, it'll be plain as day. I mean, they're both hunger dice.
I mean, you can roll willpower to re-roll your non-hunger dice if it doesn't go well.
No, they're both hunger dice. So.
Oh, well.
We got a 1.
Okay, you got 1. So he's just like wavy, staring at your face. And he leans in and he whispers, you know, Mum, she wouldn't let me do what my friends were doing. I wanted to say I was 18 when the war started, but she didn't let me, and I feel so ashamed.
What do I know about John? I mean, like everything, but like she obviously has her hooks into him for a reason. Do I need to do some deductive reasoning here? Is there a role for deductive reasoning?
I guess I'm kind of wondering what exactly are you trying to determine here?
Okay, so does he have a job? Does he come from a special lineage? I don't know. Or like, why was he special? It sounds like he's trying to say he wanted to go to war because I'm bringing outside character knowledge, but it's, the Four Feathers thing where everybody was shamed who didn't go to war.
Yeah.
And so she convinced him to stay for a reason. And then when we had the big fracas 6 weeks ago, she skipped town.
Right. So
in my meat head, they're all connected. I just can't figure out how.
Right. So you know that he is an apprentice tailor, like in his profession, like he's going to be like a clothes maker. That's what he's studying to do. That's where Jeanette met him, is at this little tailor shop where he was an apprentice. There is no special bloodline here, not that you know of.
No.
Doesn't come from money, certainly. is kind of just like your regular, it's like a very regular London family. Now, a lot of the questions that you're kind of positing, I mean, this is tough because these are kind of questions that she would know, but he would probably not really.
And if it's a mystery, it's a
understand
mystery. I'll have to do. I'll
It
have
is
to
a
beat
bit of a
pavement
mystery.
myself. So.
Indeed, it is a bit of a mystery right now. And so John kind of leans back after that, and he takes another.
Tell you what, John. Tell you what. How about you, me, and the boys? We take a walk. You show me the places that you have good memories of. Your ex-fiance's name.
And he winces when you say
X.
He's like, oh,
just show me where you guys would go.
Good memories because it's all lies. It's all lies.
Yeah, we'll pull the wool from your eyes. We'll drop the scales. We'll take a look and we'll see that everything was not as. Maybe we'll reminisce. Maybe we'll find that it was tarnished. Maybe we make some friends along the way. What do you say?
And he does not answer you and starts talking about something else. He goes, "Oh, I just wanted to tell you that Mom, she and Dad, they sat down and talking again."
That's lovely.
And she let him, like, he was sleeping by the Christmas tree in the living room on the cot.
Was sleeping by the Christmas tree?
Yeah, like on a cot out there because, Mom, she's not. I don't want to think about that. Like, they're not in this dang bedroom is what I'm trying to say. He's sleeping in the cot and he was by the Christmas tree is what I'm trying to say. I mean, I'm trying to find the good things, Walter, okay? Because this is really fucked, isn't it?
What? What's really fucked? The war was terrible on your father. We're trying to get him right so he can be a better provider to you and your mum and your family. I have nothing but love for your family, John.
I know you do, Walter. Thank you so much. You've done so much for our family.
So I grabbed a bottle of whiskey.
He's a really good bloke, he's a good
I'm
man.
phasing out.
He's passing out for sure. So he fully passes out, but his head kind of lolls back and he's fine. He's just too drunk and the sugar couldn't save him. So he some of your guys look at you and they're like, should we take him to a bed so he can sleep it off?
Yes, please.
So one of like the larger guys comes by and just kind of like scoops John up in his arms and kind of retreats to the back of the area. And Walter will also have received the letter from Myron Bond requesting his presence tonight at the Drunken Dancer for some information.
What? But I don't really know Myron. Like, we were in the room once, right?
Yeah. But
Okay.
you all had pretty intense discussions with him, and he is a part of the Broken Mouths, and Bollocks, who is
I know, yeah.
his domator. So, and the Nosferatu are information dealers. I'm sorry to say they know where you live.
Sure, no, yeah. So is it the exact same syntax that Lillian received?
Yeah, everybody receives the same letter, actually. All of you, it all says the same exact thing. It's just like, basically, the effect of it is, here is, I have important information for you. I need to meet you, and you would have gotten it 2 or 3 days ago.
Yeah.
I need you to come to the dancer this night. There's not a lot about like what information it is. Like it's very bare bones that like you're requested to be there.
Okay. I'm suspicious, but okay.
Fair enough. So we are going to pivot finally to Tommy. So you, on this same night, are in your creepy haven, and your day sleep is truly the sleep of the dead. You are frozen. You wake up quite late. The sun has already set. It's been set. Please make your rouse check.
We get hungrier.
And Tommy hears in his head just a nasty, lengthy laugh. Just a cackling that echoes in your mind, bouncing off the walls of your skull. But eventually it does stop, and you get hungrier. And you actually, when your eyes snap open, Nathaniel is right next to you in the bed.
Yes, Nathaniel.
I've just been waiting for you to wake up.
I know the hours to me are fading. It feels like I'm losing time a little.
And he reaches out his hand for your cheek. He does hesitate a moment and then kind of sets his hand here, feeling the gauntness of your face, taking in your pallid visage. Are you sick?
I am tired, but we fight to survive. I put in the work. I'm making sure that we're taken care of.
But when can I go about my normal life again? You've kept me locked up here like a prisoner.
We're still working on that. I've been working with connections. I've been endlessly trying to find this night in, night out.
And Tommy, did you share the contents of the letter that you received? Did you say what was written in there to Nathaniel?
I would have told him that there is danger afoot. I wouldn't have shown him the letter, but I would have let him know that there's stuff going on.
Okay, so he just kind of has an idea about a general danger. And what I'm trying to get at, like, does he know that he specifically
Yes.
is in danger? Like, not like,
Yes.
Oh, it's just a dangerous world out there. Okay. So
No, there's a selective danger on him right now.
Okay, so Nathaniel is just kind of like, his eyes just linger on your face, and silently he just gets up out of bed and walks into the kitchen. Why don't you roll wits and insight for me, please?
Absolutely. has a 3.
So, over the past couple of weeks, you have noticed that despite the supernatural bond that you two share, Nathaniel's just been quiet. He's been distant. He's not like engaging you in conversation as much. He doesn't try to like cajole you into doing things to pass the time, like playing cards or listening to music or anything like that. And you feel like every night the distance grows deeper between the two of you. What are you getting into, Tommy? As with the others, you've received the same note from Myron Bond about your thing tonight. So you only have you got 2 hours maybe to do stuff here.
I would get up and go to the dresser and kind of just stare for a few moments and see the wear and tear and how everything's starting to affect him. And he'll grab his scarf that he has from Nathaniel and he'll toss it on and make sure that if he needs to go out or anything, he'll be able to kind of cover up and show a little bit of humanity, a little bit of style if he needs to go. And I think this would be a good time for him to kind of pull on the cobweb. And I assume that he's probably done this a few times in the past 6 weeks, but he just kind of thinks the words Tremere and gargoyle, and he kind of just throws it out there and see if anything connects. He still doesn't know exactly how it works.
Does any Malkavian really? Yeah, the time knife. We've all seen it. I am gonna have you make a roll for me here. Why don't you give me intelligence and occult, please?
Two.
So you sort of enter this mental landscape. It's very turbulent tonight. It's just a whirlwind of images and sounds, some of them pleasant, some of them unpleasant. You get a brief image in your mind. It's a woman on a stone floor. She's covered in blood. And there is a man standing in front of her. And you don't see a face very clearly, but you can tell he's very agitated and he's like gesturing like very largely with his hands, like in the direction of this woman that's covered in blood. And you hear a 360 like stereo version of just like screams of all kinds, like men, women, like just screams, like stars exploding, scream, 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 scream. and you get the impression that this is taking place in the north. And that's all you get. As soon as the images and the sounds come, they go.
I will grab a pen and paper.
Okay.
And write down what I can interpret. Woman on stone, man standing in front, woman covered in blood in the north.
Okay, so you do record that. And just as you're finishing the your impressions, writing down your impressions on that piece of paper, Tommy also gets a knock at the door.
Tommy will move towards the door. His newly owned shotgun sitting next to the door. He makes sure it's there. Yes.
You hear a familiar voice, and it says, Tommy, mate, Tommy, I got some information for you, and you know it's bollocks.
Unlock the door.
And there's bollocks in all his glory. The skin flaps hanging from his face, but he is not smiling. He is not jovial. In fact, he seems deeply chagrined. And he's like holding a hat in his hands. And he's dressed in like a lot of black clothing. And he's like, can I come in?
Absolutely.
Now, Nathaniel is in the kitchen making a cup of tea. Are you giving any command for him to leave or no?
Nathaniel knows. I feel, has Bollocks come by the last 6 weeks, or is this something that he hasn't seen?
No, he hasn't.
I will. I'll have Bollocks stay there, and I'll go into the kitchen. And Nathaniel, I have a guest. He has information for me. I'm going to have him go to the parlor, and I'll have a discussion with him there.
Damn it, Pat. The chat. Many funny quips. So Nathaniel looks at you, and he just gives you almost an imperceptible nod, and he retreats to the bedroom.
Okay.
And so you bring Bollocks into the parlor, and he just sits down in one of these like old dusty upholstered chairs, and he's sort of like turning his hat around in his hands a bunch of times. And he looks at you and he's like, all right, I'm not going to beat around the bush, mate. So you said your boy got a letter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that letter was delivered by another nos, apparently, another sewer rat. We tracked him down. Was it one of ours that we knew of? We tracked him down. It was like a lockbox, mate. He wouldn't really say nothing. So, we had to take stronger measures to get the info out of him. It's a little harder with our type to really make it sting. So Brimmer had to even come in just to get him to talk. And then once he finally opens up, he just said his name was H, like the letter H. And he just babbled on about Regina and like the ritual. It didn't make any sense, mate. I mean, I've been around quite a lot of time and don't sound familiar to me. Just going on about the blood for the ritual, the bodies for the rituals. The rituals, they never stop, and they need more and more and more and more. And he just begged us to ash him right there. After he was done babbling, he told us to throw him in the sun. He did talk a little bit about this place up north outside the city, and he said it's like covered in blood. And Bollocks looks down. The last night we had him, this H, Sam was about to come up. We're just deciding what we're going to do with him. And he just ran through the haven. He ran out the door and found a pile of ash outside the next day. Only assume that it's him. I'm terribly sorry we couldn't hold on to him, mate.
So what you're telling me is you have information from one individual who no longer exists.
Yeah, he's Ash, mate. That's what I said.
I want the location of where you found him. I want the location of the house he spoke of in the north. I need that information tonight.
Yeah, you'll get it tonight. We had a lot of guys on it, and like I said, Under Prince Brimmer was involved as well, so but I better get on it. You're meeting with Myron soon. Maybe he'll have something else that can help you. I know he was working on it too a bit.
I can only hope there's something that we will find to take care of this once and for all.
Yeah, I don't like the look of this at all. I'm rattled, mate. Rituals, like, does it happen in London? Not here. Not because of the prince, like.
I feel since the prince has been away, that somebody has moved into the city. Now, it seems that there's only one thing that we need to do, and that's clean it up.
Yeah, right, mate. We'll figure it out. We'll do it, and but I'll see you later. Okay, I'll get it to you later tonight. And he actually obfuscates, and you see the door like crack open, and he silently goes through. And that is where we are going to take our break. And when we come back, the coterie will be reunited, and we will see what Myron Bond has to say at the Drunken Dancer. Stretch, get some hydration, and we will see you in just a little while. Be right back with more London's Bleeding. Welcome back to London's Bleeding on Martley Games. Now that we've caught up with the coterie individually, it's time to all come back together at the Drunken Dancer at the request of Myron Bond, who was Bollux's, the Nosferatu's ghoul. So you're all meeting up here at the Drunken Dancer. Is Lillian taking a car? Sure.
Of course.
And are the rest of you walking, or it's within walking distance from all of your havens, so I would say Rafe and Walter would probably be the first to arrive.
Rafe would if he beat Walter there, Rafe would probably have made a point to make sure that there was a table ready for us. He's gone through the trouble of ordering 4 pints and got to keep up some appearances, even though Rafe, I think, is the only one who would be at the table actually able to drink the stuff. But seeing Walter come in, Rafe would get up and go approach him. Oh, hello there, long time no see. It's been a bit.
Evening, Rafe. Trust your will.
As good as could be expected, anyway. It's been a rough couple of weeks, you could say, but yes. Anyway, have you had any contact with the others?
None. I think Tommy needed some extra security at the Randy Dandy, so we've been in contact that way, but not face to face.
Gotcha. Sounds. Yeah, he's been keeping busy, from my understanding. I've not haven't talked to him for a few weeks myself, but last I saw him, he was busy. And you can see for yourself when he gets here.
And the Drunken Dancer tonight, it's busier than usual. There are boys back from war. There's some sailors there, possibly some smugglers. There's general carousing. And actually, a group of guys at the back is starting to sing. And like the whole bar is starting to get into it. Pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and smile, smile, smile. And they're sort of going through this coming home from war song. And so a lot of the bar is like singing along, a lot of kind of drunken revelry. And you actually don't see Myron right at this moment. He's not up at the bar, behind the bar as he has been in the past. You don't immediately see him.
Yeah, so, any idea what this is about, Walter?
I have no clue. I've never met the Norse. I didn't go down with you, but I know where I live, which is expected.
They probably know every single haven in the city if you really want to get down to brass tacks about it. And Rafe would periodically kind of hum along to the singing, but I've don't know if it's going to be related or not, but I've got some information about the Bollingsworth factory.
Sarah, what was Clara's last name?
Clara?
Not Clara. John's.
Jeanette.
Yeah.
Her last name is Bordeaux.
Bordeaux. Okay.
But
It would have been too easy if it was balling.
Yeah, sorry.
But no, they I had someone keep an eye on the place for a while, and they finally got back to me actually tonight. It's something that is probably going to have to be looked into one way or the other, and I'm just wait to see what Myron has to say, and then we could discuss that bit of business as well, and we'll see if they're connected. We might be able to kill two birds with one stone, as they say.
Yeah, as I say.
But you and your boys are keeping well.
Yes, we have been searching the city, or our little neighborhood, keeping it safe. You haven't seen any more of those bloody fists, have you?
No, they've been pretty scarce. I periodically think I see a flash of, the red scarf and whatnot, but it's no. At least storyteller, as far as I know, I haven't been running into too many of them on my nightly wanderings.
No, it's as you said. Sometimes you think you maybe catch a glance out of the corner of your eye, but nothing notable.
Mm-hmm. Well, seeing as how we had show up to assist us with them, I'm pretty sure that if there's any more left, they would have gone well to ground and are probably scared to show their faces. So, problem solved there, at least for now.
Who's moved into their neighborhood?
Say again?
Do you know who's moved into their neighborhood? I don't know if you're still doing the newspaper thing or not.
Storyteller, has any rival gangs moved in? Or is it the Broken Mouths, or...
Yeah, the Broken Mouths have started to sort of usurp their old haunts and repurpose them. There hasn't been a really strong movement to go and sort of reclaim this territory, but there's been some. But other than the Broken Mouths, there's still outbursts of street violence from smaller groups, usually of teenagers. So they're not really doing anything too violent. They're just kicking up shit. Gotcha. Honestly. So no, not really anyone other than the Broken Mouths.
The Broken Mouths have been, we'll say, gently making themselves known, but they are who they are, and there's probably a lot more of them than what I'm picking up on. But things are stable. It's just a bunch of dumb kids causing the occasional bit of ruckus, but nothing to be too concerned about. Things are calm and stable, which is, I'm sure, the powers that be in the city would be very thankful for that.
Well, in my mind, it's just a camouflage. When you have a pop-off like that, everybody goes to ground for a bit. Nobody wants to stay in the limelight very long.
Well, that walking behemoth was laid low with relative ease, so if he was the only one keeping them in line, if he's out of the picture, then it stands to reason that the organization has probably fallen apart. So
well, I'm not only talking about them.
Right. Gotcha. But now, have you been seeing anything around the hospital? Like what we saw before?
Yeah, it's been clean as a whistle. Nothing's been happening. Haven't even heard of any more medical professionals getting accosted.
All right. Well, another small blessing then. Do you think the other two are going to show anytime soon?
Miss Crawford will show up whenever she feels like it, if she shows up at all. This is not quite her spot.
Right. Just to we'll say put the information out plain. Things are a little rough between me and Tommy right now, so I'm going to be keeping my manners with him, but just know that just keep an eye out on him and step in if I need someone to save my face from getting turned into Swiss cheese, please.
You're both me mates, and if it comes to the fracas, I'll make sure whoever wins doesn't beat the piss out of the other one.
I'll take that. That's an acceptable term of engagement there. That's fine. Yes. Rafe will go and he'll actually take a swig of one of the pints that he had on the table.
Are you gonna blush before that or no?
I have eat food as a merit.
Oh, that's right. You do have eat food as a merit. Okay, so you are good to go. And maybe it gives you a bit of nostalgia, but I wouldn't say it probably tastes good to you.
No, he's he's started giving up on some of the mortal dalliances. So this is just strictly to blend in.
Yeah, and it's doing its job. No one is looking at either of you. Everyone is very concerned with their celebrating and revelry, so they're not giving either of you any sideways glances. I think it's at this point that Lillian is showing up in her car. So the car will arrive outside the drunken dancer.
Yeah, as soon as can I see inside the drunken dancer from my car?
Yeah, there's a fairly large kind of window that's sort of in this grid. And some of the glass is dirty, some of it's warped in certain ways, so it looks a little funky, but you can tell that there's more people at least in here than the last time you were present. The atmosphere seems pretty happy, full of mortals celebrating the end of war, the healthy mortals that are not affected by the flu. And yeah, there's the light is bright inside. That's really what you see from your car.
Can I see either Rafe or Walter?
Roll wits and awareness.
All right. Three.
So yeah, you see their forms sitting there in the main. It's not a very big place. It's kind of shaped like an L, where it's this main area that's in front of the main bar, and then it kind of goes backwards and to the back of the establishment. So you do see them sitting there and talking. You can't really get any emotions or words. It's you just see them there.
She's debating on whether or not to wait. But
it's up to you if you want to wait.
No, she'll gather her coat or whatever. It's cold in this time of year, right?
Say Walter would not have thought to wait for you. I have exactly 0 dots in etiquette.
So yes, it is you all did notice this night, it does feel like the earth is trying to hold on to this cold. It is the first week of March, but spring kind of seems reluctant to come around. So it's still definitely cold outside.
Okay. It's not a big deal for her, but appearances. So yeah, she'll put her coat on her and get out of the car and go inside.
Okay, so you enter the Drunken Dancer. You probably get a few looks, being dressed as fine as you are. Maybe a couple whispers. Nothing like said to you, but you definitely, a couple of guys are like looking at you, and but they just as soon as go back to their celebrations.
And I kind of gesture towards the door. Oh, the quality's here.
Fantastic.
And Rafe would nod at her just ever so slightly, but he's not getting up from his chair.
She will make her way to their table.
I will stand up and pull out a chair.
Very kind of you, Mr. Price. I appreciate that.
Miss Crawford, welcome.
Rafe?
Lillian?
Where's Tommy?
He's on his way, I'm sure. We all got the same letter, if I am making my guesses here.
Surely. And where is our lovely host for the evening?
I haven't seen him yet.
Probably camouflaged behind the bar.
Figures. And she will take a seat.
And you're just sitting at kind of like a round table where all of you are kind of like across from each other. And a woman actually passes by the table, and she gives like a pretty like elaborate curtsy. She's smiling, and she looks at Rafe. Do you need to top off, love?
Oh, yes, please.
And she's carrying around a mug of beer, and so she just pours some in her glass.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, he's like, it's so nice. Everyone's back here again. I can scarcely believe it's real after all of that.
Well, the business is definitely lots of soldiers with pension money and all the other niceties that the government might actually pay them. Drink.
and she sort of just like nods and then looks to Lillian, and she gives like another short bow, and she's like, "Oh, Mum, may I get you anything?"
Do you have, top your best brand of wine? Would be fantastic.
Oh, certainly. And looks at Walter. And for you, dear?
I'm still fine, thank you.
Very well. And she kind of just bounds off after that to back behind the bar to locate the wine. And I think it's about this time that Tommy is going to be arriving out front.
Tommy will go to the front, see how many people are in, and kind of cover a little bit of his face a little bit more, keep his head down a little bit, and walk in and walk straight to the table. He'll get to the table, open his scarf up a little bit. Miss Crawford, Mr. Price.
Tommy?
He'll stare at Ray for about 3 seconds. Where's Myron?
Oh, well, our lovely host has not made an appearance. Am I missing something here?
No.
I don't know.
Between you two, because that didn't seem like a very pleasant.
Are you really that concerned? Or are you just trying to get more information?
I like to know where people stand when I'm going to likely have to work with them. It's a fair question.
There's more beef than a slaughterhouse at this table.
I believe everything's in order for right now. There's no need to
I'm
worry.
going to have to worry about, or
No,
that would
I don't
put
believe so.
whatever it is we're going to go up against in jeopardy.
Matters settled.
We're
Well, good
dedicated to the
lads.
cause.
They'll look out for each other professionally, I'm sure.
And Tommy, I like that scarf.
Thank
Red
you.
is a good color for you. Now please
Okay,
come sit.
And he'll take a seat at the table.
I'm going to actively start scanning for Myron or anybody looking intently at us.
Okay,
I was about to say, can I use See Unseen?
you sure can.
Ooh, I have that.
You can both use it. That's totally fine.
No, that's more.
No?
Never mind.
Oh yeah, I was like, I don't think you have hospital.
I have Sense the Beast.
Sense
So
the
I don't-
Beast, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay. So since you're kind of employing it actively, Lillian, let's say, give me. You can either do wits or resolve and aspects. You can pick which one you want.
All right. That's 4 with the crit.
So your blood is powerful. You've refined it. You've been around for more than a century. Something like this comes so easily to you now that it barely takes any effort. You blink once and your supernatural vision kicks in. And in the back of that L shape, in the corner, you see Myron. And then also, you see sort of moving slowly toward a back room of the bar. You see Bollocks as well.
Interesting. All right then. As soon as I see Myron, Lillian is going to stand and walk right over to where she saw him and just kind of lean not against the wall. She's gonna kind of stand there with her arms crossed, looking around. So, how long do you plan on keeping us here before telling us what it is we are here for?
And he kind of stares at you silently for like a beat or two. And then he actually emerges from his obfuscation, and he's kind of back in the corner enough that everybody's so distracted that he knows he can do that without causing like a ruckus. So he unobfuscates, and he actually then he raises his voice and he says, "All right, everybody out of the bar. Party's over. We're closing early. We got someone sick, so you all got to go home." And there's just like boo, like bleh, like everyone's just like, all the people in the bar are super, super unhappy. And Myron kind of like, you can see him like, for some reason he's not like opening his mouth the whole way. Like his jaw seems kind of like clenched, and he's trying to like raise his voice through this clenched jaw, and he's like, you heard what I said. You gotta go. It's time to leave. I'll be open again tomorrow night. Come down the pub then. I'm serious. I mean it. And I'm going to make a quick roll for Myron. So there are some more protests, but people do start to file out. Everyone's complaining and just moaning, and people are drunk. And it takes probably a good 5 to 10 minutes for it to empty out of all the mortals. People are really dragging their feet. They're kind of just not into Myron's whole vibe and what's going on, just kind of ruining their night. So eventually, after 5 to 10 minutes, all the mortals are now gone from the bar. Everyone has left that was there, except for you all, Myron, and Bollocks is there, but he is not unobfuscated. He is still in obfuscation. And Lillian, you see him in the corner, and he's just standing with his arms crossed, and he's not saying anything, and he's no particular expression. And so everyone leaves, and Myron, he does actually come behind the bar, and your table is not too far away. And now that the carousing and the singing has all stopped, and you can only just hear the voices trailing away as people walk away from the bar, the tension is hanging heavy in the air. The atmosphere is not relaxed, even outside of the intercoterie issues. You can just all feel this just distinct discomfort from Myron. And so he's standing there behind the bar, and he kind of surveys you all, and he's like, and he starts to speak in this sort of clenched way again, but you see him sort of relax his jaw. And when you look at him as he's talking again, you can see that all of his teeth are now 3 rows of shark-like pointed teeth. And you can tell he's having trouble getting used to this, and so his voice is a bit affected. So he kind of, it's very uncanny once he unclenches his jaw and sort of spreads his mouth out, and all these teeth appear and his eyes kind of widen. And you also notice about his eyes that they are just the iris and the pupil, it's just all one black orb. There's no differentiation. And you can
a shark size.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can see him sort of shifting around kind of uncomfortably. And he's like, thanks for coming. I know it's kind of short notice, but thanks for being here. I do have some things I have to tell you.
Get to it then.
Right. I won't waste your time. So, in terms of what's going on here in East London, I mean, we had all those troubles, but the bloody fists seem to be gone. And he sort of holds his side for a moment, and he's and he kind of winces in pain. Why don't you, all of you, give me intelligence and occult if you have it, or you can just roll in straight intelligence if you don't have occult.
3.
4.
4.
I haven't fed yet. 2.
So, Lillian, Tommy, and Rafe, you sort of see these mannerisms, his appearance, you understand that he has fully gone through the Nosferatu embrace. He is now a kindred. And Lillian, you also see his pale aura that indicates he is no longer a ghoul, but a kindred. And he is having trouble adjusting to the changes in his appearance. And who got 4, Tommy? Rafe.
Yep.
The 4, you also notice that he keeps like scratching like certain parts of his body. Like he's fully dressed and everything, but you can tell there's probably something going on with his form underneath the clothes.
Does he have gills down there?
I don't know. Does he?
Probably.
And so, but he generally seems uncomfortable. And Walter, you, after a few moments, you can kind of put together that, like, oh yeah, you know, there was talk that he was going to be embraced back in the fold. Do you remember Bollock saying that?
Yeah.
And that this is probably a consequence of the transformation, but you don't really fully understand.
Yeah, it's just a reminder to me. I'm like, oh yeah, he was going to get changed.
Uh-huh. Well, congratulations on your promotion, Myron. Right, now, what's this all about, lad?
Right, so, in terms of the flu here, I mean, folk are praying it's going to let up by spring. Dr. Williamson, he's doing okay. He says the hospital is okay. But there are quite a few new Nosferatu in the Broken Mouths, or coming to us seeking refuge. Now, Broken Mouths got quite a few of us now, you know, mixed, different, not all Nos, some different, but Nosferatu in particular, they found the tunnel spot, and they're coming, and they're out of their minds.
You say they're new. Are they new to the area, or they just turned?
Sometimes both. Not always, but most of them we've never seen around East London at all. And, you know, we can see them. We got people that can use the site to see people coming and going. So, never seen them here before in East London. And now, and talking stuff we don't really understand. Talking about a man with a strange accent that tortured them. Getting left, getting turned and then left, and all coming from up north.
So I'm not too well versed in how the finer points of the law, but I mean, that's basically a death sentence to be doing that. The mass embracing, that's something that'll get your head taken right off.
So it was a mill.
We told to the sheriff, or I don't know, anyone of any sort of official standing within our ranks. Why are you telling us?
Because truthfully, we know that his voice kind of lowers. We know that the prince is coming back around, and we've kind of done whatever we wanted to do while he was away, more or less. The Broken Mouths did, and now he's coming back around, going to start asking questions. And you helped us out with the bloody fists. We wanted to tell you first before we went to the brass.
You're hoping that we can intercede on your behalf before Mithras comes to.
You're afraid he's going to look at you and all the Nosferatu, and he's going to immediately assume it was you. All of you. Not just you in particular, in case I didn't make that very clear.
Yes, that's what I mean. And Brimar, he had the agreement with the prince in the past, but they've been telling me, like, when the prince comes out and comes back around, he's always on a tear. So I don't know what his feelings could possibly be now. I don't know if the sheriff's been talking to him. I don't know. Ain't nobody seen him yet. But yeah, he's going to assume that it's the broken mouths turning people, leaving them to their own devices, and then putting the city in danger. And like you said, it's a death sentence.
Being scapegoated by someone.
I mean, at the very least, we could at least vouch for you if push comes to shove. But I mean, this is something that I
don't know 100% that it was not them. I have yet to see any proof whatsoever of either or situation.
Listen, the broken mouths, they told me they don't just turn anyone. They know it's like a whole rules and process and stuff. Like, it's not something that they just doing willy-nilly out on the street, especially not now.
We just met you 7 weeks ago. And this is the third time I've met you personally. I can't vouch for anything.
You're asking for us to give our word that it wasn't you to the prince.
That's not exactly what I'm asking you to
request is.
That's not exactly what I'm asking you to do. I'm not asking you to vouch for us just yet. I'm asking you to see what's going on with these Nosferatu that have been left and maybe clear our name before he even gets out of his hole or whatever.
Luckily,
why don't you do it?
Yeah, you're the investigators, but it is also your lucky day where I've got my hands in a mystery that I can't shake.
And I look at the others, and I also have some information about the Bollingsworths.
Rafe.
What?
We could talk about this afterwards. Not far, man.
Well, the fact remains that we've got our own problems to deal with, and as much as I would like to help you all out, there's more important things that we've got our own personal charges to do.
And Myron looks down. There's one other thing, then.
Right.
There's... Wetterman's been okay. No more doctors, nurses disappearing and all that. But now it's happening in Finsbury. 2, 3 doctors gone from their posts, not returned. 3 at the same hospital in Finsbury. And why don't you all roll intelligence and streetwise, please?
Good roll for me.
I actually have something here. Not much, but it's something.
I actually got 2.
That is a 4.
I've got 3.
Okay,
1.
so 1 for Walter.
Yeah.
3 for Rafe. 2 for Lillian. 4 for Tommy. So for Walter and Lillian with 1 and 2, you know this neighborhood. We're getting outside of East London now. This is not East London. Like, we're out of this area. Like, this is to the west of the Tower of London. And you don't really know anything other about the area other than it's definitely out of this area that you're in now. But for Rafe and for Tommy, you know that Finsbury is just north of the city of London proper, which is just north of the London Mithraeum, which is the temple dedicated to the Mithras of human mythology. And it is a place that Mithras is known to sometimes stay, to sometimes appear, because after all, it is his own temple. And Tommy, you can put all of this together to say the problem is about to be dropped right on the prince's doorstep. And that's going to be a problem for everyone.
Myron, we're going to need to speak with the Primer. This situation, if the situation is moving where it's going, it's going to be in the prince's backyard very, very soon. We are going to need the Broken Mouths to do some work for us.
Mutually beneficial arrangement, perhaps.
And it is at this moment that Bollocks unobfuscates. And you see him there in the corner. And he, without a word, just also comes... he actually comes and pulls a chair and sits down at your table also.
Hello, Bollocks.
If you do finally show yourself, I was wondering when you would finally do that.
Well, boy's got to learn. Can't always be holding his hand. But
can't always
things...
hold their hand. And she just looks at Rafe and then back at Bollocks.
And Bollocks, Tommy, you know, he doesn't look quite as dour as he was when he showed up at your doorstep, but he's definitely, this is not the Bollocks that came in all those weeks ago at the dancer, slapping Myron on the back, smiling from ear to ear in his weird way. This is just a different mood, a different aspect of Bollocks. And Bollocks sort of clasps his hands and he's kind of messing with the loose skin there. And he's like, shit is getting serious now. Bloody fists are gonna seem like a tea party compared to what's gonna rain down on us. And I understand we're coming to you again. But that's because, I mean, you crushed it with Downs at the warehouse. And there's not a lot of people that would even be moderately sympathetic to us in the underground and the sewer rats.
Now, as far as...
Go ahead.
So as far as the other hospital, is it the gargoyles? Like with them in?
I think so.
Shite.
So in good faith, I think this has nothing to do with you. I think what's happening is that there was some sort of Nosferatu farm that people were doing things with that might have something to do. I don't have the middle step between the baby Nosferatu and the gargoyles, but there's something there. And then once he got too heat, they shut down shop and flooded the market. Your problem is an afterthought, but it won't get you out of trouble unless you can prove that these are the ones that created all these new Nosses.
And he leans forward. He's like, right, we have to clear our name. We have to find out who's responsible. And again, this isn't just going to be our problem. It's going to be a problem for all the kind in the city. It's not going to be a matter of, a few Nosferatu showed up. The prince doesn't care about that necessarily. That's out of his purview. But on his doorstep, mortals disappearing, creatures flying in the sky. I think you're onto something, mate, Walter. But why would people be why would someone create all these Nosferatu? I just don't understand it. And Myron looks at all of you, kind of like scans all of you and lingers on Bollocks for a moment. And he's kind of like, is this normal? You get turned and then they just leave you. Is that something that happens a lot with, like, kindred? Like, I thought they meant to guide you.
Happens more than you think, unfortunately.
They're not supposed to just abandon you. It's against the rules, more or less.
But so is making you, so win some,
That's
lose
fair.
some.
You're not supposed to really make another unless you have permission. Which reminds me, I'm wondering. I'm gonna just look at Bollocks. Was there permission for Myron?
And Bollocks kind of like looks like side to side for a second and kind of strokes his chin. He's like, yeah, we sent a letter off to Lady Anne telling him to pass along the message, and we got something back in the affirmative, so we thought it's okay to go ahead.
If you already had the arrangement there between Bremer and Mithras, then I suppose Lady Anne's word's as good as any then.
I mean, she's the one who's around when he's doing fuck all, whatever he's doing. Bollocks says that.
Some sort of permission, otherwise you'd be in even more of a predicament.
And Bollocks looks straight at Lillian. He's like, yeah, miss. I've been around quite a while, not just in London. I understand how things work. I'm not trying to step my toe out of line. I know what happens to those that do so. And this city, it is the ivory tower, basically, of the world. And we do what we can. We work as we can under the arrangement that Brimmer set up with the prince years ago.
Delightful.
Are they taking these doctors and nurses, or are they killing them?
Well, I don't know. The doctors never show up. I don't see no bodies. So we don't know.
Being turned into something else.
Well, they're the ones with the physician training. They're probably being the technicians to turn things into something else.
It's an interesting point.
And if they aren't turning up dead, then we have to entertain both possibilities, that they are alive or dead.
And after a moment or two, Myron, you can tell that he's just filled with like paranoia and fear. Like like the kind of soft-spoken nature that he had, this sort of like friendly, Like now it's like an emptiness in these shark eyes. It's just this wide-eyed, like it almost seems like he's about to panic at certain points. He doesn't, but he's like he seems very disturbed like throughout this conversation. And so he then does look around, and he kind of puts his hands up on the bar and leans forward a little, and he's like, and I think someone's trying to kill me as well.
Relax, Myron.
No, I'm serious. It's not just
Why?
all the shit's going on. Someone following me. I hear them. I turn around, they're not there, but I hear them. I know what we can do, so others can do it, of course, too. And someone is following me. Another Nos or someone else that can disappear. It's someone's following me.
Okay.
When's the last time that you suspected such?
Last night, I was on assignment outside the tunnel, and
Is that why you were hiding in the corner?
I just wanted to be able to see the whole bar, see who's coming in. So in case, I don't know.
We have a hard time blending in now, unfortunately.
I know, I'm gonna have to turn the operations of the bar over to Violet, probably. Can't stand at the bar no more. People get suspicious.
How often has this happened? You suspecting that someone is following you?
Yeah, it's just around the time that these new little Noslicks started showing up at the tunnel door, pounding on, saying, let them in. They're in danger. They seen some shit. It's around that same time I started to go out on my assignments and stay at the dancer. I come in, I'm opening up the bar. I hear something bim fall over. Look behind me, no one there. I mean, I don't have the special sight or whatever it is. I don't have that. I can't see no one else. I could just do it myself. So, but I swear, I heard someone following me. And Bullocks is looking at Myron as he relays all of this to you. And he's kind of like, he like almost scoffs, but kind of doesn't. And Bullocks is like, mate, I told you. It's just, you're still getting used to everything. You're just scared. Like, there's a lot going on, but it's like, you just
No, don't discount.
Don't sugarcoat it to the man.
Don't
That type of
discount
paranoia is
the
going to keep him alive
paranoia.
longer.
For one, you don't know 100% that there's not somebody following him. You have a lot of strange kindred roaming the streets now. You don't know if there is one that is. Have you looked? Can you look? Can you see?
I've tried to keep a very keen eye out when I'm coming up the pub, and
Who's
and
talking
everything.
right now?
Myron.
Okay.
Myron's talking. He continues. I don't really understand why someone would have it out for me. I mean, I'm just new. I don't have nothing. I don't have no money, no influence, no standing, really.
Unless there was somebody who liked torturing new Nosferatus.
Can I use my sight, decency, and scene again? I just want to look around. I'm gonna get up and like have a look outside and just around in general the bar.
Okay, go ahead and give me wits and aspects, please.
Okay. And yeah, as she's using it, I'm just gonna blink, and then I'm just going to get up and keep talking. That's fine. I'm just curious.
Right, and Bollocks, I don't know about the inner workings of your crew, but when your lads go out on assignment, are they by themselves? Do they have, a friend along with them?
Yeah, typically, if we can spare it, we try not to send anyone out alone, really. We thought might be okay just coming and going from the pub and a few errands, but have to send someone with him, I guess.
Tommy's going to stand up at this point in time, and your newest kindred you've sent by himself after starting a turf war with a rival gang, not expecting any counter surveillance to be placed upon your crew.
And Bollocks looks at Tommy and says, "Bloody fists are ash in the wind, mate. They're gone."
Oh, we're not talking about them anymore. We're not talking about the bloody fists at this point in time. You know there are other kindred involved at this point in time. The stone creatures that are flying around, the gargoyles. You know now that you're part of this. You should know. Brimmer should know.
We actually should talk with Bremer here sooner rather than later. If no one else is willing to go down and talk to him, I definitely will.
I'm not going down there.
I would expect not.
I have my demands that I need to place upon. If they want us to do the work, they're going to have to put out. We're going to need info. We're going to need power. There's multiple things that we're going to need.
And Bollocks looks at you again, Tommy, and he says, "I understand that. Between all of you, you have a very varied set of skills, which is why we want to bring you in, because with us, it tends to get a bit samey with the different strengths that we have. So that's why we wanted to bring you in. And of course, because no matter your standing or your money," and he looks at Lillian for a minute.
She's still looking around.
A full minute, 60 seconds.
4 minutes.
She's probably not even paying attention because she's still looking.
Yeah, you're still looking around. And he continues, "No matter your standing, when the prince touches down here again in the city, knowing, I'm assuming he's going to know soon enough about the creatures flying around in his domain that he's held for, nearly 1,000 years.
You're assuming he doesn't already know?
I mean, when he goes away, he really goes away, miss.
And he's returning. Wonder why.
Almost like a plan has come together, isn't it?
I think you overestimate his interest, especially in this part of the city.
That's why he leaves Bremer to his own devices.
No, I just suspect that he already knows that there is something going on. He probably already knows about the gargoyles. I mean, Baylor was there and saw it, and of course, I'm sure Baylor went back and told everything.
Right, which is why now he could be coming out to
clean house.
Exactly. And
So
you
it's not
know
fiction.
that we're going to be the first on the chopping block.
So you think
correction.
it's more about saving face than fixing the problem?
Tommy.
No, I think we're beyond saving face. There is a problem that we need to fix. And we're not going to be able to stop until that problem is fixed.
No, that's what I'm. Yeah.
Bollocks, do you have that address for me from the north?
Yeah, I couldn't exactly get like a number or anything like that, but I have a general area. And he will find a piece of paper under the bar and a pen. And he's gonna like draw a circle that's representing like this East London area, and then sort of an arrow up. And I'm just gonna get my map here quickly to reference this. So you can see that it's like directly north of this city of London proper, where which Finsbury is just to the north of, and north of the Mithraeum as well. So it's far, like you're going up through many neighborhoods at this point, like past all these parks, and you're getting out, like fully out of the city, like it's fully outside of London, and we're going into now the areas start to get way more rural. There's forests, there's it just gets less and less developed, especially the further north that you go. And what I'll do, Steve, is I will provide the name of the town, or of the little area. And Bollocks kind of like finishes up this little drawing. He's like, there's really not much here. Like, I don't even know what could be out this far from the city, or why they would even care what's going on here. Like, people up in the country, they could tend to stay up there and maybe pop into London a couple times a year, but
it also is a good post to run missions into the city and not be seen. Tell Brimmer we need help from other clans. We need to find something magical, if you will. There's got to be something with some source of power, be it a kindred or something that we need to find in this area. And once we find it, we'll have to deal with it.
all right. I mean, of course, you'll have an audience with Brimmer, whomever wants to go down there. This is bollocks. Lillian, you rolled 6 successes on your wits and aspects.
Mm-hmm.
So you blink once and you're looking around the bar as well as outside of the window. Was it 6 on a crit or just 6 straight successes?
6 on a crit.
6 on a crit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just added them together, so it wasn't the extra after that. It's just the total is 6, and I did get
got
the
it.
crit. Yeah.
Cool. You're not entirely sure, but you outside of the window, like it, which is going toward the street, if you go south you'll hit the Thames eventually, and you do see like this swish of cloth, like of clothes, like a figure and a swish of cloth and they leap far, far, far to the north. Like in a clearly inhuman leap.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just gonna go back and have a seat. So, any of your people supposed to be around here now, other than you two, of course?
No, not in this area, just us two tonight.
I'm just going to look at Myron. Sorry, I went blank for a second.
You're fine.
I'm just going to tilt my head and give a very slight smile. I believe your paranoia is justified.
And Myron's eyes widen, these pools of black expanding. And it looks, even in his sort of paranoid, frightened state, with these huge eyes and this like mouth hanging slightly agape as you say that his paranoia is justified, and these shark teeth, it is very unsettling the way his face looks. And he looks right at Lillian. And Myron, like, his head like quickly turns to Walter. I'm not used to this yet. It's not a smile. There ain't nothing to smile about.
My mistake.
Rafe's going to he's going to take his pencil and he's going to go up to or on the little map that Bollocks drew. Where Storyteller does the Ballingsworth factory figure into the map here?
Sure. I'm going back to my map here. So, the fine glass facility is in northeast Whitechapel. So that's going to be east of the city of London. It's not that far. It's kind of over this main big road. It goes from kind of Finsbury, and then if you go kind of just slightly south and east, it's in North Whitechapel at the corner of Cable and Ensign Street, and it's a very like typical kind of industrial era. So like it's why don't you just rave? Give me another intelligence and streetwise.
Okay.
While he's doing that, I'm just going to look at Bollocks and just so you have options. You have a choice, more or less. You can let the young one stay below where he is protected until he gets his bearings. Or you can use him as bait. But either way, I would suggest deciding that quickly, because after what I just saw, whomever it is that is stalking this lovely individual here, whatever they want, they can get quite easily. So, you keep him below, or you use him.
And Myron, in this moment, like, he looks wounded.
No offense, darling. I hope you understand. It's just legitimately an option.
And he looks down and he just says, "Don't call me lovely. I know you're just taking the piss.
Oh, no, my apologies. I was actually, it's just
I look at Bollocks. It's like, you're going to help him.
Whatever.
You're going to help him with this complex, right?
And Bollocks kind of like leans back in the chair and just is like, yes, Mr. Price, it's a difficult road for the new ones, you know, and I'm trying to be here among my many other responsibilities to Brimmer and otherwise. I'm trying to do right by him. And wait a minute, you said Miss Crawford, you saw someone out there?
Why else would I tell him that he's justified? Don't just make things up and just go with the flow on things. No, I usually like to have hard evidence or something, solidified for me to make an assessment based on. And yes, saw something, someone.
And
fully, but they did make a rather impressive leap towards the north.
so not toward the tunnel then. And Bollocks is silent for a second. And he stands up and looks around for a second, and he picks up his chair and he just boom and throws it at the wall, and it just completely shatters into splinters everywhere, and he's just like, fuck!
Feel better?
It's not supposed to be like this. The prince is supposed to be fucking off. We're supposed to be taking care of the ones that is to eat, that ain't no one will turn their eye to, that won't say a kind word to them. And now we've got cunts in our own ranks. They're trying to fuck us from within.
So cull your population then. If it's a problem, if that's your concern, that someone's trying to take you from within, then remove the threat. Keep the ones you know, the ones who you trust, should there be any, and disregard the rest. If that's not the case, not what you're wanting to do, then figure it out. This obviously this is not the way it's supposed to be, but this is the hand that we have all been dealt. Play the game.
And Bollocks just looks down and kind of chuckles to himself. And he looks back up at all of you and he says, that's just the thing, innit? The broken mouths is supposed to be different. Take all comers, the people that have been disregarded by everyone. These blokes coming back from the war with half their face gone, and the people that, the kindred that get left by their good for nothing sires that leave them to die, to tear through the kind, fucking it up for the rest of us. We try to set him straight, but there's so many people knocking on the door that maybe we're losing track a bit. And I understand that now. I have
heard of Troy. Are you familiar with the story?
Like the Romans or the Greeks or something like that.
More or less.
The horse.
Yeah, the horse, they like sneaking them in and stuff.
Do you get the analogy, or do you need to explain it further?
I mean, so how do we apply that tactic to this situation, Mum?
No. You aren't applying the tactic. They are applying that tactic on you. They knocked on your door and you let them right in. Now how are you going to fix it?
And he stays silent for one more moment. His eyes linger on Myron, and you all see a look of just like pretty genuine dismay, like just kind of at the end of his rope. And he looks up and says, well, with your help, hopefully we all can make the problem go away. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session. So thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. I had such a great time back here in the world of London's Bleeding. I hope you all were entertained. So we are going to go around the horn. Everybody can say where to find you, anything you might have going on, probably a bit in the future from this recording. Where we can usually find you. So we'll start back with Ben as Walter.
Hi, I'm Ben. Okay, I'm not on me. Hi, I'm Ben, and you can find me here at Martlet Games. I'm not really on the socials. There's a couple things in the fire, but work. But happy to see you.
Hi, Patrick Gill, creative director here at Martlet Games, playing Rafe. You can catch me Saturdays. We kick off the Vampire Saturday Takeover with Office Hours, where you get to sit and watch me ramble for an hour with just whatever random bits of World of Darkness goodies pop into my head. Try to help you, maybe spice up your games a little bit. Otherwise, you can catch me on, after that, you can catch me with Sam on Adjacent by Night, where I play Harley the Nosferatu. Other than that, it's hard saying what's popping off right now, but yeah, we got stuff. Just keep an eye on the socials. Other than that, thanks for coming back, everybody, and yes, we're going to be having a lot of fun this season. I'm pretty damn sure of that.
Hi, everyone. Samantha McLarty. I was Lillian Crawford, the delightful Ventrue. The look that I just got when I said that. That was great. Yeah, so I do things, lots of things, and I don't have a clue as to what I'm going to be doing when this actually airs. So aside from Adjacent by Night with Patrick on the Level Up Dice channel, there's several other minis series that I'm signed on to do, lots of one-shots. Hopefully by the time this airs, I will actually have been able to run, or at least have scheduled, my Tin Candles game that I've been trying to do for like 6 months now.
Real life sucks.
It does. There's such a big cast, and it's just so hard to get everybody on the same schedule. So, but lots of things. I have a link tree. I think, is that going to be in the chat?
Oh yeah.
In the chat, yeah. All right, cool. I have a link tree. Follow the socials. You'll see all the cool stuff that I'm going to be doing. And that's about it. I am enjoying being back in Lillian mode.
Hey everybody, I'm Steven DeRigger, creative partner here at Martlet Games. You can find me at Darth Generico, link tree in the chat. By this time, I should be well underway showing Indie Anarchs. If we're not halfway through, we should be at some point in time on that. and a couple one-shots that we're working on here. I'm sure I'll be able to give more details in the chat right now on what those might be at that time. Make sure you're just following us at Martley Games. Make sure that you're checking us out and what we got coming down the line. It's going to be a good time.
Great. Thank you to all the players once again for joining me back in this world. Thank you to everyone who watched. My name is Sarah. I was the storyteller. You can find me on MC Diabetes on Twitter. I'm also a creative partner here at Martlet Games. I'm also part of the Saturday Vampire Takeover with Vancouver by Night at 6 p.m. Eastern, where my fledgling Tremere is now the Prince of Vancouver. So please join to see how long I will
as of
be
this
alive.
recording.
As of this recording, I'm still alive and I'm still Prince, but that is subject to change, I assume, at any moment. So tune in to see what happens there in Vancouver. I'm also on the regular D&D 5e campaign on Vancouver by Night on Sundays at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. We're doing the Lost Mines of Phandelver module. We've taken a lot of different turns. It's been a very emotional, interesting, great campaign. So find me there as well. And then, have some one-shots, some other stuff. You can sometimes find me every first Saturday on the Mondo Kane Publishing Weave the Tale takeover. I played Cult with them in the past. I'm going to be playing some more with them in the coming months. So check that out. Other than that, just follow Martlet on the socials. Follow MC Diabetes to see what me and all of my friends are doing in this world of TTRPGs. And thanks everyone again for joining us at Martlet Games for London's Bleeding. We will see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.